Welcome to another episode of Fresh Off the Set. I'm Kari Diaz.
And I'm David Osmond.
And I'm Elora Murray. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode. We have so much fun doing these.
We do. We can talk. Did you guys know that?
We've got some stuff to say.
It's crazy.
You know what's cool about this? This show's called Fresh Off the Set. For real, guys. We just came fresh off the set. We just seriously took the mics off, the loves, the lights went down, and here we sit down to continue the discussion. So this is real. This is real conversation.
Fresh off the set. That's right. Okay, so weekend's coming up in a few days. I wish it was sooner than a few days, but it's coming up. It'll be here before we know it. And we like to binge a lot of shows, right? We want to talk about what we're watching. Now, I saw that they are making a Harry Potter series, a Twilight series. So let's kind of get into how we feel about these popular movies being made into TV series. Elora, why don't we start with you?
What's old is new. What's old is
Kari,
churned out again and again and again.
Kari knows I have so much to say about. So I love the Harry Potter stories. It's such a millennial thing. I can sort people into houses. I got my nephews obsessed with it. I love the stories, and the movies are so nostalgic for me. I mean, honestly, to get a little personal for a minute, when I was in junior high, I had a hard time. Had raging anxiety, didn't know that's what it was having a really hard time, and I would either read the books or I would turn on those movies, and I would sit there, and they were like a comfort blanket for me. Watching these stories, watching these characters that I loved, and every time I watch them now, I'm like, man, if I could go back and talk to that 14-year-old girl and be like, hey, it's just anxiety, things are going to get better. That is what those movies did for me. And the idea of them being redone kind of is like, but that was my comfort blanket. The only reason that I'm like, okay, yeah, let's try putting it in a series is I feel like a new generation might experience what I did when I needed those stories. And because each season will be a book, there will be more time to see things that we didn't see in the movie.
That's true.
But initially, I was like, no, those are like my precious, like I said, my comfort blanket. Those were there for me. But after thinking on it a little more, I'm like, you know what? I would love for this to be there for someone who is, maybe 14, maybe younger, and have them have the experience I did. That's how I feel about the Harry Potter series. But like David said, I feel like so often now what's old is new, and we're just taking things that were already done and just redoing them. So
How many spells do you have memorized?
Do you want me to talk about that right now?
She has her wand at her desk.
This is
Should we
the
grab it?
moment.
Wingardium Leviosa.
1,
Alohomora.
2,
Petrificus Totalis.
3. No,
We're done.
Pretty good.
3-hour Joe Rogan podcast.
I'm really impressed. You know what, though?
That's pretty good.
They're
Did
beautiful
you just say
movies.
hello, Elora?
Oh, no, it does sound like that. It's Alohomora. It unlocks things.
I also thought
I feel
you
like it's
said
in
that.
Aloha, Laura. We're in
We
Hawaii now.
need to move on, or else
sorry.
we're going to lose so many viewers with me just shouting Harry Potter.
I think you're surprised. There's probably so many. They're like, oh, you forgot this spell and this spell. I know people with Harry Potter tattoos all over their body.
Well, I mean, I forgot.
big deal.
I forgot Expecto Patronum, which is one of my favorite, and so
There
is
you go.
Lumos. We need to stop. We need to stop.
Well,
what were you saying,
Isn't that a
Kari?
transmission fluid?
It's fine. I was just saying they're beautiful movies. So I feel like the bar is going to be really hard because the expectations are going to be really high.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the problem, is that there is such an emotional bond to this, and not just the characters, but the way it was shot, the dialogue, what they look like, what they sound like, and to try and recreate that, capture that lightning in a bottle, whether you love or hate the series, is just so hard. And almost any sequel is just very difficult to live up to the salt that it's been kind of the hype that's behind it. That's the one problem. But it is nice to kind of dive deeper. I mean, you always miss things. The books always have so much more detail. So in a series, you can have the opportunity to like fulfill that. Oh, you didn't forget that. That's great. We at least get to see it.
You'll have more time.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of like, I want them to really almost go a different way when it comes to casting. So I'm not comparing, because I absolutely will compare those main three.
Because they're brand new actors, so
Yeah.
the new, so that's new.
Which I love. I hope.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm like, I hope that they're still like, they follow the age, like 11, 12, 13, 14, because that's what they did. with the movies. But like I said, I'm willing. I'm going to take a look. We're going to do it.
So we're going to see what they're like when they're 22, living on the couch in the basement, the parents' basement.
But you know,
And they're at the pizza place.
I will say they're coming out with a Twilight series, and for me
Yep.
personally, this is very, it was a hot debate when it came out. I didn't love the casting of the Twilight movies. So
Yeah.
for them to do a Twilight series, I'm like, yes, great. Let's see who we cast.
I know. I feel
Are
like
you
this one
Team
has a
Edward
good
or
chance.
Team Jacob? Let's get this out in the clear.
In the books, because I read all the books, I was Team Edward. And then when I saw the movie, I was Team Jacob.
I'm Team
switched.
Sparkle. I like the sparkles on them.
I went opening night, the very first night, because my sister-in-law basically just twisted my hair saying, you have to come. And I had no clue about anything, and I just loved watching everybody else.
Yeah.
It was a spectacle.
Because people are obsessed.
A midnight showing.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. That's what I remember.
Just watching everybody.
Just like, this is, where am I? This is crazy.
Yeah.
I sound like such an old man saying that, but it was great people watching.
Yeah.
This is a true story. So I heard that when it came out, there were a couple of theaters around the country at midnight showings that girls were literally passing out in the theaters
my
when they
gosh.
first saw Edward. Seriously, they were seeing him and were like, oh, and they were having this issue across the country. And I mean, I look back on Beatlemania and I'm like, man, those girls are crazy. And then girls my age.
passing out
We're
from
passing
Edward
out.
and Jacob. Well, now they can pass it on their own couches at home,
Yes.
watching the new characters.
There you
Wow.
go.
So have these come out yet, or are they in production?
They're in production.
Okay.
Yeah. So maybe we'll catch up when they come out and we'll discuss and see.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see the casting for both of them because I truly feel I connect so much to characters that I truly feel like the casting is going to be incredibly important. And I just hope that they choose people that, like I said, our younger generation can connect with the way that I did.
Yeah.
You ever gone to Comic-Con? You know, they have that here in Salt Lake. It's great. I know the guy that puts it on. He's awesome.
I've been
you
a
ever gone
couple
and
times.
seen those people, those actors that play those roles in person? And then
Oh, they're
seen
dedicated.
The visceral reaction of
Yeah.
fans that just don't know how to separate the person from the role.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
People love those characters.
I mean, to be honest, I know Zachary Levi came one year, and if I saw him, I would have been like, Chuck, is it you? So maybe I shouldn't go to Comic-Con.
I was talking to the actor who plays Jesus in the series The Chosen, and he's just an actor. He's like, I can't get a T-Mobile commercial because I'm Jesus. You know,
He's now been
I can't
typecast.
hold a burger from Burger King and without saying Jesus eats Burger King.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you've totally been embedded with those roles. It's pretty amazing. Some of them, their career, you know, there's explosive opportunities for so many. But yeah, it's hard for us to separate as viewers sometimes.
I remember my
screen
dad
to
and
the
I,
reality.
we were in New York. I was living in New York, and we went and saw How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. And Daniel Radcliffe was playing the lead in that. And I knew that, and I was like, good for him. Like, Harry Potter's over. He's making a way for himself. And sitting there with my dad, we were like 3 rows from the front, and he was sitting on a swing, if anyone's familiar with the show, and he shot up from the ground in the swing. And my dad was like, it's Harry Potter. It was like, I was like, Dad, shh, but yes.
But
It
yes, you're
just
not
dawned
wrong.
on him in that moment, like in that, hey, I know that guy. You didn't read the playbill?
No, he was there because of me.
No, yeah,
He's a good dad.
That's
He was
awesome.
like, let's go.
And you did a pretty good job in that role, actually.
He did. He was
He's
great.
talented. He's really good. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
they
I think
are.
he's able to like pull into those other characters and do well. So, well, we'll recap when the series
go.
come out.
We'll get back
watch.
to it. And then you guys let
Yeah.
us know what you think. What are your feelings?
We'd love to know, definitely. Okay, another thing trending right now. Have you heard of Chat GPT? David, I
Oh,
know you have. Why don't you
Oh, yeah.
start?
Well, a lot of people have. It's now on its 4th iteration. It's called Open AI. It's artificial intelligence. And it's a hot topic right now. Elon Musk and a lot of his cohorts and friends actually came out with an open letter declaring that we need to put a stop or a pause on AI development right now, that it will be the demise of our society. It's going too fast, and I think it's already too far down the path to stop it anyway. But it is unbelievable where this machine learning can write your research paper in a split second the way you want. I could say, hey, write a 300-word document about the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow. I mean, any topic.
Wow.
And it will just
He
start
got
going.
that from Monty
That's Monty
Python.
Python. I could say, write me a script a la Monty Python style and make the sketch 2 minutes long. It will write it for me and be pretty darn close and funny. I mean, it's crazy. I would say you could ask it about yourself. Write a bio on me about the history of my life. And this thing will scour the web and know within a split second, it will put together in perfect form. Not that it's impressive, but the implications of the amount of jobs that will take, how it could infiltrate your DMs, get into your privacy. I mean, you just don't know what the development does because it is machine learning. There's pros and cons, and some of the cons are extremely scary. The pros are extremely exciting. So there's this whole discussion right now about what Chat GPT is, and it's kind of the forefront, that name brand. You can go on and you can kick the tires on it. You can test it out, try for yourself. It will blow your mind.
I kind of see it like social media. You know, what you can use it for good or bad, and depending on what way you go is the way it's going to turn out. But it scares me a lot just to think about people that have worked really hard writing books, writing papers, writing, you know, and then there's also the side of it is does it help you save a little time? Yeah. If you need to write like a recipe really quick, if you have to, you know.
Well,
there's no question, but it's that 10 years down the road, 5 years, 20 years, like what will society be because of this? What will it do to alter the course of our lives? There's certain things. Ray Kurzweil's a guy, very, very smart guy. If you know pianos, Kurzweil pianos, it's KURZ.
Yeah.
He's the guy that created that. I mean, synthesizers when he was a kid, young. He is now currently the head of AI for Google and has been in that role for many, many years. But he's a predictionist of sorts, decades and decades ago. So he would see that technology advances in a predictable way. It exponentially grows. So if we have this technology right now, we know we have this processing power to do these things, X, Y, Z. We have iPhone. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we didn't. So he takes the technology we had for back in the 60s and said, hey, in 20 years from now, we'll have this kind of technology. Therefore, we'll have this kind of a lifestyle. When do we have flying cars? When do we have this kind of medicine? And so he predicts stuff in the future. He's about 80 to 85% accurate in his predictions. Ooh. Some of the stuff he says, and I'll cut this short because it's probably boring everybody, but it is fascinating. He says in the future, there's something called the singularity, and it's when man and machine converge. And there's such an explosive hockey stick graph moment of innovation and growth and technology. You can't regulate it. It's too fast. It's too far forward. And it will, as man and machine converge, there will be no cancer. You'll have microbots, so to speak, in your blood that will seek out that cancer. Flash technology, we will get rid of Alzheimer's. There will be no dementia. Like, there's some cool things that sound awesome, but there is that other side of that double-edged sword coin that can be pretty scary. Privacy and everything else. We don't know what the implications are. Anyway, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down.
No, I find that very interesting. Thank you for sharing that.
I've had 2 experiences with this. Do you remember when there was that trend going around that you could, like, you put in your pictures and you were like, make me look like a warrior or like a fairy princess or something like that, and then everyone was sharing a comic book character, and everyone was sharing it on Instagram, and I was like all in. I'm like, oh man, this is so cool, and I have them of me, and then I have a couple of friends who are artists that were like, please stop doing this. Our money comes from actually doing this for people, and by you giving like $5 for this subscription, we've lost hundreds of dollars worth of work. And I was like, I didn't even think about it. And then I was watching a TikTok the other day about this girl who was like, if you can't figure out, and I never know if the word is niche or niche. Everyone says it differently. She was giving advice to content creators. And she was like, you know what? And this is where I'm like, oh. She was like, go to YouTube, put the closed captioning on a video in your niche, copy and paste their script into AI or whatever it's called, Chat GPT, see what it comes out with, and then you have your own script. And I was like, no, you just copied this person's to put into this, and then you're just copying what it's saying. And so it's going to be really interesting because, like you said, David, and like you said, Kari, I can see so many amazing things with it. I can see saving time. I can see brainstorming. I can see creativity. But I can see the other side where it's just like my artist friends who are like, please don't use this. And then these content creators who are like, okay, I just came out with this video and you're just copying what I'm saying. And I mean, that's a whole other conversation. A lot of social media is copy and paste, but it's literally someone encouraging you to go and just copy that.
I saw a story. You reminded me of something I just saw this last week. Scary, where you've heard of the deep fakes, where they have technology where you can put like your face on something. It's funny, and oh my goodness, like Schwarzenegger, like
That's the one
he's
I'm
in the
seeing
Titanic, and it's
You're
all
right.
Oh, he was in The Sound of Music.
So you can like take physically, you can say you can't even believe your own eyes anymore, but also your own ears. They're taking the same thing with audio and waveforms, and they could they could go do Fresh off the set, and they could have all three of us mimicking our voices. Will sound exactly like us with our inflections and the way that we speak, our cadence. There have been stories of parents getting phone calls in distress of their kids calling them.
I heard about this.
And the kids are, screaming to their mom, "Help me!"
And it's their actual voice.
A ransom call of your child,
Oh, my
and it's not their
word.
child. And so, I mean, there's implications that just sick, dark things that what will be meant for good will be used for bad. And so parents, finally realize, no, my daughter's over here with my neighbor. They're totally fine. Who was this calling me? Because that's my daughter's voice.
And it was really their voice.
That
That
is
is so
scary.
terrifying.
Well,
So-
and that is horrifying. And again, it's like there are some people who are going to use this and are going to use it for amazing things, but how advanced it is, it just, my anxiety is always there. This just makes it spike.
We need to be aware. We need to be cognizant. So it's we can't live inside of a bubble. I mean, we're definitely all exposed.
Whatever constant is
Whatever
change,
technology
right?
is out there, we
It's
just have
always
to be aware.
changing.
I think great things. My cousin's doing a thing with AI learning. He's an oncologist, so he studies cells
Oh, love
and
it.
diagnoses people with cancer and lets them know what they have. But humans sometimes miss things. So he's actually using technology to look at cells, tissue cells, and identify cancer that the human eye misses.
See, if we can just use it for those kind of things, could you imagine how powerful that would be?
Oh, it
Cool.
would. I have a friend. She's really high up in a company here in communications, and she uses it to help with processes. Like it just gives her an idea on how to process and how to make things work smoothly, and then she'll look at it and be like, "Oh, that's a good idea, but I'm going to add this, this, and this to it." So there are people out there who are doing amazing things with this. It's just like David said. Just being aware, if you ever get a call that's me doing Harry Potter spells, that is someone using AI. It is not me. I need to make that clear.
I don't know. Your spells were pretty good.
I only save
You
those
know all
calls
the
for
spells.
Kari.
Yes, and I love them.
I don't know if I could pull the British accent off. Just perfect enough.
It's not me.
not
I need to
me.
make that clear.
Yeah. Well,
That was crazy. It's a brave new world we're in.
is.
Oh, brave. Well, okay. Speaking of the world, summer's coming up, and people are deciding where they want to go for summer vacation. Do you two have any plans?
I love summer.
What do you think? What do you got?
We do a lot of, I have a 6-year-old, so we do a lot of like short road trip type of things. And one of our favorite things to do is just vacation with the family and build those memories. And we've done it since she was, in diapers. And so we have a few really fun trips planned this summer. One is to Bryce Canyon. So we like to
Love
take
it.
advantage of our beautiful scenery here in Utah. But you know what? I get excited for summer. What about you guys?
My kids have never been to Hawaii, and my wife and I have never been to the island of Kauai. A good friend of mine has a place there, and just approached me not too long ago, said, "Hey, would you like to take it for a week?" I went, "Are you kidding me?" So this summer, I cashed out a whole bunch of air miles, and the whole family were going to Kauai, and the kids are
fun.
stoked.
I
And
love
it's
that.
going to be just a blast. I'm looking forward to it so
Oh,
much.
I love it. Okay, well, the Thrillist came out with Airbnb's trending destinations for this summer.
Okay.
And the fun thing about it is they've kind of split it into topics. So, top trending summer destinations with a view. Number 1 is Winnipeg, Canada, which
Really?
I did not think would be on there. I've been to Canada. I've been
Been
to.
to Winnipeg.
I have not. I have been to.
I've been to Vancouver.
I've been-
Vancouver's
yeah,
beautiful.
I've been
Yeah.
to Whistler and I've been to Victoria.
Canada is beautiful.
Other places on there are, if someone French hears me say this name, I am so sorry. Très sorry. Saint-Gervais-les-Bains, France.
I think that was a
If
great
you just
attempt.
put the
That was a great attempt.
pretend you're slurping a snail and you'll be fine.
Good attempt.
And then number 3 is Cape Town, South Africa, which I think would just be dream destination.
Yeah.
Dream. And then the top trending summer destinations for culture-hungry travelers. So that's a phase. Number 1 is...
Tooele.
Number 1
We love you, Tooele. We love
I
you.
do love Tooele. They're awesome. It's a great vibe out there. I'm not kidding.
Love it. Number 1 is Colombia. 2 is Milan, Italy. And 3 is Bangkok, Thailand.
Oh, I'll go any of those. Take me.
Wendover didn't make it.
I haven't
Dang
been.
it.
David, we love our
I don't know,
West.
that west side of Utah is like
We
calling
love
me.
it. We love it. I haven't been to any of those places. David, you're our traveler. Have you been to Colombia, Italy, or Milan, Italy?
Italy, I have been. It's beautiful. It's awesome.
Milan
It's
is beautiful.
fantastic.
Yeah.
See,
Colombia,
yeah.
I have not.
I haven't either.
Bangkok, I have not. A lot of these places, no. Tokyo is awesome. I do like Tokyo a lot.
Yeah, that was number 4. I've been to Italy, but I've never been to Milan. And I've heard, I've seen influencers go, and I see what they do, and in my mind, I'm always like, well, I can't afford what they're doing, so what am I going to do in Milan? But that's the only things I see from Milan.
When you're there, you have to always walk like you're on the runway. It's just like...
It's like the fashion.
model.
Yeah, fashion area.
Carrie and David are going to have to teach me how to do that.
You walk on the runway? Yeah, right.
We'll leave that to David.
And then we'll post a reel
Yes.
giving you our runway tips. And then the next one, this is a very specific category, adventure-loving Gen Z travelers. So not millennials, not anyone else, not Gen X.
Adventure.
This is specific for Gen X. Number 1 is Morocco. 2 is Palermo, Italy. I know I'm saying that wrong, and I feel
Palermo?
ridiculous.
I think it's Palermo.
Yes, thank you, Carrie. Thailand's on there, Japan and Australia. Then finally, the top trending destinations for empty nesters and retirement moons are number 1 is Antigua, Guatemala, Buenos Aires, Argentina, and Belfast, Northern Ireland.
I will go to any of those.
Lots of places. Not enough time.
Oh, I know. The world is wide.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Blind life is short.
Like in Mamma Mia, here we go again. You guys are just hearing.
Mamma mia.
You're hearing so many things about me. She says, the world is wide, life is short, I want to make some memories. And then she goes out and travels. And whether you like the movie or not, that is a really good quote.
That's a good quote.
From Lily
And it's a fun
James.
movie. Those are fun movies.
And
too.
just good music all
Yeah.
around.
Oh, ABBA. I could talk about them for days, but we're
Watch our
running out of
TikToks.
time.
We have some ABBA TikToks for sure. Well,
We're
that
going to
was
let
fun, you
Elora
guys.
do her own podcast that lasts for
Yes.
a couple days, all ABBA. So
Harry
stay
Potter?
tuned for that one.
All ABBA and Harry Potter spells.
And Disney, I just switch back and forth, and
Yes.
people are like, please never have her on a podcast
Whatever,
ever
you're
again.
awesome.
We love you. Well, that was fun, you guys. And thank you for listening to another episode of Fresh Off the Set. Please rate, review, and subscribe. And we will see you next week. Congrats, you made it to the end. If you want to continue to freshen up your day, you can watch us on Fresh Living every weekday on CBS Channel 2 in Utah at 1 o'clock. You can also watch us on our YouTube channel, KUTV Fresh Living, and follow us on social media. We will see you next week.